Good morning. I'm Tim. Today is July 5th. This is Tim. This is my rambling, my thoughts, my story. Today's 5th of July, and it would have been Max's 71st birthday, I believe. We met back in probably 78. Yeah, I think it was 78. And he graduated and returned home March 31st of 2010. We used to spend his birthdays at the north rim of the Grand Canyon from about 85 to about 92. I took the van up a couple of times. Whenever I had my bike running or wasn't broken, I took my bike. Last time that I went up for his birthday, I drove the van. My brother and his wife went and they took their motor home, and I had a broken neck, so I had a halo on. We had a good ride. We had a good time. Uh, that was his 47th birthday. We went to the store at Jacobs Lake, and they made him a cake, and we brought it out to the campsite there. And we had cake and ice cream for his 47th birthday. Got to sing him happy birthday. Rained like hell. A few days later, him and JD, I think, took off to go to Wewoka, Oklahoma to see Charlie. He was another friend of ours. Max was a hell of a good friend. He helped me with everything. If I was working on a car, he helped me build he did a lot of building my truck. I had a 1950 Ford pickup, and when I had to wreck in '88, I had trouble driving it because it had the old steering in it, and the steering box was shot. I changed to a later model steering box, but it's still in bad shape. Max had a '50 Chevy sedan delivery, but we needed a frame for it. So Dago said that knew somebody had a GTO frame, 68 or 69. It was just the body and the frame, so we got a hold of that and took it back over to Max's and pulled the body off and realized it wasn't a flat frame. It was a coil spring frame, so it had humps in it. So Max says, I know what we can do with it. We started measuring, and the width of the frame for the GTO was the same width as the frame for my pickup. So Max asked me if I wanted a GTO front end in it. He'd never done one, but he'd love to give it a try. And he built all kinds of things all the time. So backed the truck up over the shop, diesel shop, and pulled the motor and the tranny and the whole front end off and everything. And he cut the frame off about 18 inches from the cab, put in the GTO suspension, gussets and supports and everything, come out from that and put the original Ford front end back on it, or frame parts back on it. So it's got about that much of a GTO frame in it. And it's welded real good because Sonny and I were partying one time. We were coming back on 163rd Avenue and Joe Max Road. And shortly after there's a kind of a bridge type deal. We went off it. We went airborne. And didn't mess up the truck any, so Max did a good job on it. Used to go to the Lake Powell all the time for about 3 or 4 years. His boss had a 57-foot houseboat, and he would do about a week up there, and it was free for all the truck drivers because the guy owned a diesel shop. So Max went along because he had to work on the boat if anything happened. So since he went along, he wanted some of his friends to come along. So I went, and then I asked if we couldn't bring Terry's dad, Woody, because he loved to fish. So he went with us. So we 3 of us would ride up in the truck or meet Max up there. He'd come down from Utah and spend 4 or 5 days floating around on Lake Powell in his 57-foot houseboat. The only thing you had to pay for was your food and your booze. And it was beautiful. Got to sleep up on top of it. Max usually took off each summer, and he'd go maybe a month or so. He'd up to Salt Lake about 3 or 4 times a year. But in the summer, he'd take off probably for about a month, maybe 2 sometimes. And he would go up to Utah and then come back down and maybe go over to New Mexico and see JD, or over to Oklahoma and see Charlie. And there was somebody up, I think in Montana, they used to run up and see every once in a while. Let's see, Lake Powell. Oh, yeah. JD had a shop in Las Lunas, Los Lunas. It's about 25 miles south of Albuquerque. And then he also had a shop in Clovis, New Mexico. That was pretty close to the Texas border. We'd go out for a trip in the middle of the winter. Max and I took off in the van and drove to Clovis to see JD for about a week. We hung out there, and it's snowing and everything. We had a really good time, though. The van's nice because you can sleep in it or whatever. So we partied down there, had a good time. Max was the closest thing I had to a true brother. He would do anything for me, always helped me on stuff, and he was always there. When I come to an hospital, my wife and Max were the ones that I'd see there. He once told, after the wreck in '95, he told me if I ever got on another motorcycle, I'd never see him again. He was not going to go through it anymore. He was done. But when I ended up in the hospital afterwards, he still came to see me because it wasn't my fault this time. I wasn't on the motorcycle. It was the universe doing whatever it needed to do. He called me one night one morning, about 2 o'clock in the morning. He'd been in a lot of pain for about 2-3 months. And he called me and told me he was in the hospital and that the pain got so bad he couldn't do it anymore. He had to have an run test on him in the morning. So I went up to see him the next morning, and he never said he had cancer until he started on chemo. That's when he said that, yeah, it's in my liver and in my back and in my lungs. And they showed him where it was, so he knew it wasn't going to be long. He lasted about 3 months. About a week after we found out Max had cancer, Terry's stepmom also was diagnosed with brain cancer. And she left at the beginning of March, and Max left at the last day of March. I was lucky. I got to spend time every day from the day that I found out until he graduated and went home. And I only missed one day. And we had a hell of a send-off for him at the diesel shop. That's where he worked. We were sitting around one day in the backyard. No, we sat around the backyard every Thursday. That was his grandkid day and Tim day. He'd go see his grandkids in the morning. They'd come by in the afternoon. We'd sit in the backyard, smoke a few, and drink some beer. Sometimes till the sun went down. Sometimes for an hour or so. We'd watch the skies, watch the orbs going over. We always saw them. Sometimes as many as 5 or 6. There was a hummingbird to come around, or hummingbirds would come around, and we kept on talking about getting a hummingbird feeder. Never got around to it until after he crossed. But after he left, the day that he left, I was sitting in the backyard that day drinking a beer and a shot of Jack Daniels, thinking of him. And I look, and this hummingbird's just flying over the table right in front of me. And it's kind of like, wow, that's pretty cool. But couldn't you send one with more colors? And that one went away. And a few minutes later, one with more colors come up. And it was a little bit smaller. And it's flying in front of me. And off right up over here, hanging from the roof, is wind chimes, because I like wind chimes. And I've got a wind chime up there, and it's got a bell on it about this big around, about that big around, and a small hole in the center. And then the chimes hang off the edge of this thing. And it's flat black, and it sits in the sun almost all day. Well, that hummingbird built a nest up there and stayed there and had 2 eggs. One hatched, and it stayed there all summer. And it was kind of cool because it had to be Max that sent it to me. Because right after he left, and all the times that we talked about the birds and hummingbirds, and just watching, yeah, all the wildlife in the backyard. You know, just watching the lizards, the bugs, the different things in the backyard, just getting off on them because it was something that was natural. And after he turned 67, we were sitting in the backyard. I'd been in Trout Lake, Washington, up at the East Eddy Ranch for a conference. Come back, we're sitting in the backyard talking, and he mentioned that it had been his birthday. And oh shit, that's right, I forgot, man. Happy birthday. And I said, how old are you? He said 67. Oh, I started laughing. He said, "What now are you laughing about? You're going to get that old someday, maybe." And I said, "We've been sitting back here drinking beer and smoking dope for over 30 years, and it's still fun, and we still do it, and we still enjoy ourselves. There's so much energy of parties and everything in this backyard. It was a cool house. We moved. My daughter lives there now, but the backyard, there were so many parties and so much energy that we've had back here, and it was not a place of negativity. It was always positive. It was always fun." And there's just that backyard, you go back there, and there's just the calmness, the peacefulness of it. I miss it. I got a backyard with stones in it now, mainly because I can't do the work to take care of it, but that's besides the point. I still like my old backyard. My granddaughters really enjoy it. I've got a hammock back there and a little fire pit, and they like the fire pit and the hammock. Max and I used to sit around the little fire pit, Max, I, and John, and just burn wood and sit there and just enjoy ourselves. And it was really nice. We rode together a lot of miles. We had a lot of fun. Today, I think you turned 71, Max. So happy birthday. I miss you and I love you. Thank you for all the good times. And remember, keep a bike revved up for me. I'll be up here one of these days. I hope you're enjoying riding with everybody else up there, because we've got a lot of friends up there. And to you, thank you for letting me ramble on. I needed to say something for Max or about Max, because for over 30 years he was a big part of my life, my family's life. He helped us whenever we needed it. He was always there for us. I always thought I'd be the first one to go, but shows you what thinking does, huh? Yeah. Everybody have a great rest of the weekend. Hope you had a happy 4th of July. Remember, in the end, only kindness matters. Open your heart to the love that's all around us. Remember, the energy and the love of the Creator is all around. So each time you take a breath, do a conscious breathing, and think you're drawing all that energy into your body, and you're renewing your spirit and your soul. You're helping to energize them. Plus, you're helping to energize your body. I guess that's it. Remember, kindness is free, so pass it around. Thank you. Peace, love, and light. Good night.